What's cracking, y'all? It's Nick Danger, and you are now tuned into the art of MV. Today, I'm in the middle of something. Just thought I'd do a quick stream and show you guys my console and why the MV8000 is perfect for working hybrid. Um, you don't have to just be locked into hardware just because it does everything. It does a lot of stuff, and that's why you should use it hybridly. So I'm gonna show you a couple of things. But right now, I was actually working within the One Technique kit again because it is awesome. This shit is dope. Um, and I told you he gives you quite a few chops, man. And I've been able to arrange something and then sprinkle in my own instrumentation inside. So yeah, we're gonna run with this one. This was headed to the this is headed to the next phase already. Highly usable. I recommend it all day long. So one thing when using your MV in a hybrid manner or hybrid manner is the signal flow. So the way the signal flows in my studio is the Integra into the MV. Everything else is going to the Integra. That means the SP555 and the Phantom, which is underneath this drawer, are both on the external input of the Integra 7. It has a set of quarter-inch stereo ends in the back and on the front panel, so I can, have everything at my beck and call there. I can have everything that I need,
Is a thing of beauty.
all my samples,
Is a thing of beauty, is it not?
you know,
What a man.
may accomplish.
Mind.
Yes, man, yes. So I'm sitting here with the One Technique kit, and I'm sitting here and I was going through my console, and I was thinking, this is how, in my vision, you're supposed to use an MV. So a couple of things determine whether you want to go hybrid. There's lots of different hybrid ways of working, I'm sure. Um, I used to be of the run it through the mixing board, and I had an analog mixer. Right behind the laptop there is a tube mic pre and four-band EQ and compressor right behind an ART with a good color to it, man. It's not a manly or nothing like that, but that thing has a cool thing going on. I used to use it to run my bass guitar through. This this way of doing work, going through a mixing board and then going inside the DAW and come back out the DAW, that's a great thing. I like the way it sounded. I love the way it sounded, but I hated maintaining cables. So when I got this interface right here, this VS100 interface, it has a VS mixer on board. Now the DSP to the mixer isn't premium, but it's good. It's good enough to rock in your home studio. It's good enough to listen back if you're playing. Let's say I'm playing bass and I got a guitarist and we both plugged in into the system. It's good enough to run another system. It has 8 ins and 6 outs. Has some premium mic pre's on it that are good, not great, but good, very good. Onboard EQ and compression. And if you watch that little clip, I'm gonna run it back, but it's gonna take me as a good way to segue into the other MV that actually has the exact same technology on board, and that is the V1 Verse Lab. If you look at the three knobs and the way everything is set up, you use the encoders, the knob encoders to as a fader in the Verse Lab, and it's the same way on the MV1, the VS100. It's the exact same mixing board. It's set up the same. All the components line up. The wave recorder that's on the VS100 is the same wave recorder that you get on the MV1 Verse Lab, unable to go past 32 gigabytes. So nothing you can tell me that that's not the same mixer on the VS1. On the VS100, that's on the Verse Lab as well. So that mixer makes that interface pretty unique, and which is why I've never upgraded it, and that's because it has onboard DSP. Very no latency. I mean, it's great. It's USB 2.0, which is probably old now, but it works fine. It's never failed me. And it has an onboard two-track 24-bit full digital wave recorder on there, which means I can record an entire sequence with markers and everything onto the the SD card and just load that inside your computer and throw it in your DAW. Or I could record something like I did this piece of music and turn around and simply have somebody play over it and use the overdub function, right? And by using the overdub function, it kind of turns into like a looper. So that made it so easy for me to one work with the interface on board the mixer without the computer on. When I was just inside the MV and using what I was using as incoming signals. But then to turn it on with zero latency, and I'm going in digital to my interface as well. I'm not using the quarter inch inputs. I'm using the digital out to digital in lossless. Digital, it's great. I love it. You know, some people want that analog. I'm not too I love the different things that analog used to bring to stuff, but if it doesn't make practical sense in the studio for me, I can't do it. Now that's not to say I'll never go back to an analog mixer, but right now I love not the least amount of cables, the better for me. And that's what I got to say about that. So as we move on, I told you just a minute ago, I'm gonna put up this video, and that's how everything kind of handled. Now another thing about one more thing about the output of the MV going into the DAW. Basically, I use Cakewalk. Cakewalk is a great DAW, and it also is it's a free DAW, and it's the $500 version of it. And it's attached to something called BandLab, which is a browser-based DAW and whole like little SoundCloud type community where you can export the entire song and put it out. Anybody has that haven't checked out Band Cakewalk by BandLab, man, you're asleep because it's free. It's free. And it's not free because it's bad. It's free because it's just free. He just made the shit free. I don't know how to explain it, but I've been using Cakewalk for years. And I didn't have the most expensive version, but they made the most expensive version free. And they develop it, they update it regularly, and you can export it straight to something called Cake to the BandLab page. You can do the stems. You can share files with people. You can. It's a whole community, man. You got to check out Cakewalk by BandLab. Um, it's nothing. It's nothing uncool about it except for the fact that it's usually a bunch of old guys like me using it. Now, I only use the DAW for the console emulations. It has console emulations itself, but I like soft tube. So you have these, kind of expensive emulations of expensive boards like the SSL boards and everything, and Neve boards and whatnot. And I have something that allows me to control it, and it's right in front of the MV8000 because as I'm listening to the DAW, as we are, because my podcast and my streams come straight from the DAW as well. Um, I can control EQ, compressors, shapers right here with the knobs in real time, and it's highly accurate. Man, this thing sounds good, and you guys are gonna find out because I'm gonna run a lot of my podcasts and my streams through this. So let's show you what I was actually working on the last time when we left the when I left the one technique kit before, and I loaded up on a couple of stems and a couple of loops before. Now this track that I'm working on that's in here now um, is in the works. It's got some work to do, but it's coming along, and it's going to be a nice little fresh loop. Um, the other two that I actually used are already at the stage where I want to go ahead and drop some vocals on them. Let's get some vocals down because one of the things I want to do is show the MV in its what it's supposed to do, which is finish songs, finish entire songs, no matter what. It's made to finish songs. So these are the couple of songs that I got that are actually progressed to the stage of where I'm not going to add any more, probably not too much instrumental. Now it's just the vocals, and that's what I'm working on now. And these are once again from the One Technique kit. Now, these were all recorded in a linear fashion, and we're going to go through that. But I wanted to just nerd out on some stuff before I get too instructional, because my channel is going to be a lot less instructional and a lot more just informative, if it's anything. Because I just like to point out stuff that I want to see what other people are doing with MVs, and let's just start the conversation about the franchise as a whole, because nobody talks about that. It's a cool piece of gear that nobody really talks about. And somebody's actually said that. Somebody actually said that the MV has to be the most least talked about gear on the internet, and I want to change that part. We're going to talk about the MV. So that's one of the tracks that it's at the next stage. And that's what happens when you work hybrid. You can actually capture an idea so much quicker if you already have your system enabled and everything's like a few clicks away. So even if my computer's off and I got a good idea, I can just record the WAV file. And what I'll try to do is just record the best possible recording of it. So if I put it in the DAW and I feel like using it, then I can use it. Or at least I can come back and remember accurately what to pull up on the files. So here's the other one that I was working on that is also being written. It's almost done as well, and it is a One Technique ditty as well.
Is a thing of beauty, is it not? What a man may accomplish if mind is set to purpose. And there's something missing. Freedom. See treasures put to use, absent constrained to live, knowing each choice made is your own.
See, sometimes you feel a drum pattern, sometimes you don't. So the 3 tracks that I did, well, the 3 surviving tracks, because I did another track as well that I'm not going to play because I don't like it. But these 3 that I played today, the next time you hear those, will be laying vocals to them because they were made to do that. So, but they were made all with the One Technique kit, kind of preparing to make videos about the One Technique kit. So once again, man, you know, MV is never behind the time. This your mind that's behind the time. If you're making old school beats, it's because you want to make old school beats, right? And that's the truth. That's just because you want to make old school beats.